The phone call came on a Wednesday morning while I was reviewing contracts in my downtown office. "Hey Maya." My brother's voice was rushed, distracted. "Quick thing. We're throwing Dad a surprise party on Saturday at the Riverside estate. Just wanted to let you know, but don't come. You'll probably ruin it somehow." I stopped mid-sentence in my email. "Excuse me. Look, you always make things awkward," he continued. "And Dad's been stressed enough lately. We want this to be perfect. So just stay home, okay? We'll send you pictures." "Daniel, I gotta go. Client's waiting. Bye." The line went dead. I sat there for a moment staring at my phone. Then I pulled up my calendar. Saturday, May 18th. Dad's 62nd birthday. A party at the Riverside estate, one of the most exclusive event venues in the city. The same venue I'd purchased 8 months ago. My assistant Lauren knocked on my office door. "Ms. Torres? The architects are here for the Harbor Point development meeting." "Give me 5 minutes," I said. I pulled up the venue's booking system on my computer. There it was, Daniel Torres birthday celebration May 18th, 6 p.m. 150 guests. My brother had booked my venue, told me not to come, and had no idea I owned the place. I sat back in my chair and laughed. Not a bitter laugh. A genuine, surprised laugh at the absurdity of it all. Then I opened my email and began typing. The thing about my family was that they'd never taken me seriously. I was the youngest, the dreamer, the one who didn't apply herself. When I'd graduated college with a business degree, Dad had sighed and said, "Now maybe you'll get a real job." I'd gotten a real job, entry-level position at a commercial real estate firm. I'd hated every minute of it, but I learned everything I could. I studied property values, zoning laws, market trends. I saved every penny. 3 years later, I quit and bought my first property. A rundown duplex that everyone said was a waste of money. I renovated it myself, working weekends and evenings. I rented it out for twice what I'd paid in mortgage. My family's response? "That's nice, dear." When I bought my second property, then my third, they started making jokes. "Maya's playing Monopoly in real life," Daniel would say at family dinners. Everyone would laugh. So I stopped telling them. I stopped going to dinners where I was the punchline. I built my portfolio quietly, residential properties, then commercial, then event venues. By the time I turned 30, I owned 17 properties across the city worth $43 million. My family still thought I was figuring things out. Daniel was the golden child, Harvard Law, partner at a prestigious firm, married to a woman whose family had old money. He'd never struggled for anything in his life. My sister, Rebecca, wasn't much better. She'd married a hedge fund manager and spent her days on charity boards and country club committees. Me. I was still poor Maya, who couldn't quite get her life together. Saturday morning arrived with perfect weather. Sunny, 70 degrees, light breeze off the river. Perfect party weather. I arrived at the Riverside estate at 9 a.m. The venue sat on 3 acres of manicured grounds overlooking the water. The main building was a restored Victorian mansion with soaring ceilings and original hardwood floors. I'd fallen in love with it the moment I'd seen the listing. My venue manager, Patricia, met me at the entrance. "Miss Torres, I wasn't expecting you today. Is everything all right?" "Everything's fine," I said. "I wanted to check on the Torres party setup." Patricia's expression shifted slightly. Yes. "About that reservation. Show me what they've planned," I said. We walked through the mansion. The main ballroom had been reserved, along with the garden terrace and the outdoor pavilion. Daniel had ordered premium everything: top-shelf bar, elaborate floral arrangements, a live band, custom lighting. "The deposit was $15,000, Patricia said. "The total estimated cost is around $65,000 for everything they've requested." "And they paid the deposit?" "Yes, but..." Patricia hesitated. "The credit card was declined twice. Eventually it went through, but barely. And there's a balance due today of $50,000. I nodded slowly. "I see. Miss Torres, if you want me to cancel, I can do it quietly. They'd have time to find another." "No," I said. "I want you to cancel at exactly 5 p.m. 2 hours before the party starts. When they arrive, I want you to personally tell them the reservation was canceled." Patricia's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "Completely sure," I said. "And Patricia? I'll be here when they arrive." At 5 p.m. I watched Patricia make the phone call from my office upstairs. Mr. Torres? This is Patricia Chen from the Riverside Estate. I'm calling to inform you that your reservation for this evening has been cancelled. The property owner made the decision this morning. I understand you're upset, but the decision is final. No, there will be no refund of your deposit as per the cancellation clause in your contract. She hung up and looked at me. He's furious. He said he's coming here to speak with management. Perfect, I said. I'll wait. At 5:45, cars started arriving. I watched from the upstairs window as my family pulled up in a caravan. Daniel's Mercedes, Rebecca's Range Rover, my parents' Lexus. Behind them came more cars. Aunts, uncles, cousins, family, friends. At least 70 people poured out of vehicles, all dressed in cocktail attire, all expecting a party. Daniel reached the front doors first. He tried the handle. Locked. He pounded on the door. Hello. We have a reservation. The party starts in 15 minutes. Patricia appeared, opening the door just enough to speak through. I could hear every word from my position at the top of the stairs. I'm sorry, sir, but your reservation was cancelled at 5 p.m. this evening. Cancelled? Daniel's voice rose. That's impossible. I paid a deposit. I have a contract. The property owner exercised their right to cancel as outlined in Section 7 of your contract, Patricia said calmly. The deposit is non-refundable in cases of owner cancellation. This is insane. Rebecca appeared beside Daniel. We have 70 guests arriving. My father is going to be here any minute for his surprise party. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. Sorry doesn't help us. Daniel shouted. I want to speak to the owner. Right now. I'm right here, I said, descending the staircase. Every head turned. The crowd parted as I walked through the foyer toward the entrance. Daniel's face went through several expressions. Confusion, recognition, then something like horror. Maya, he said weakly. Hi, Daniel. I smiled pleasantly. Patricia, thank you. I'll handle this. Patricia nodded and stepped back inside, leaving me facing my family and their assembled guests on the front steps. What are you doing here? Rebecca demanded. I own this venue, I said simply. I bought it 8 months ago. The crowd behind them started murmuring. I saw my aunt whispering to my uncle. My cousin was recording everything on her phone. You own. Daniel couldn't seem to finish the sentence. The Riverside Estate, yes. 3 acres, Victorian mansion, premier event venue in the city. I purchased it for $7 million last September. My mother pushed through the crowd. She looked elegant in a navy dress, her hair perfectly styled for a party that wasn't going to happen. Maya, this is ridiculous, she said. Whatever point you're trying to make. I'm not making a point, Mom, I interrupted gently. I'm running my business. Daniel booked my venue and his credit card barely cleared the deposit. He owes $50,000 for tonight's services, which he clearly can't pay. So I canceled the reservation. You're lying, Daniel said. His face was red now. You don't own this place. You can't even afford. I own 17 properties in this city, I said clearly, making sure everyone could hear. 8 residential buildings, 6 commercial properties, and 3 event venues. My portfolio is valued at approximately $43 million. I've owned this particular venue for 8 months. The silence was absolute. Rebecca found her voice first. That's impossible. You work at that coffee shop. I worked there 6 years ago while I was saving money, I corrected. I haven't had an employer in 5 years. I've been building my real estate portfolio full-time. Why didn't you tell us? Mom asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. I tried to, I said. Remember when I bought my first duplex? I invited you all over to celebrate. You said you were too busy. When I bought my first commercial building, I called Dad. He said, that's nice, and changed the subject. After a while, I stopped trying. Dad had finally arrived. He was getting out of his car, confused by the crowd standing outside instead of inside. When he saw me, his face lit up. Why, what are you doing here? Are you part of the surprise? The question hung in the air like smoke. She ruined the surprise, Daniel said bitterly. She canceled our reservation. What? Dad looked between us, bewildered. He didn't invite me to your party, Dad, I said. He called me Wednesday and told me not to come. Said I'd ruin it. So I canceled the venue reservation. You canceled it because you weren't invited? Dad's voice was sharp. That's petty, Maya. I canceled it because Daniel can't afford it, I said. His credit card barely cleared the $15,000 deposit. He owes another $50,000 for tonight and he doesn't have it. I'm protecting my business. Daniel's face went from red to purple. That's none of your business. It's literally my business, I said. My venue, my financial risk. The cancellation clause exists for exactly this reason. You could have worked something out, Rebecca said. You could have let us pay in installments or... Would you have extended me that courtesy? I asked. Any of you? If I'd needed help, needed flexibility, needed understanding, would any of you have helped me? No one answered. Last year my air conditioning broke, I continued. It was August. 95 degrees. I called Daniel because I knew he had connections with contractors. He told me he was too busy and hung up. I fixed it myself. That's different, Daniel started. 2 years ago I invited everyone to my 30th birthday dinner, I said. Nobody came. You all had other plans. I spent my birthday alone in my apartment eating takeout. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Maya, we didn't realize. You didn't want to realize, I said. It was easier to keep thinking of me as the family failure. The one who couldn't get her life together. It made you feel better about your own choices. A car pulled up, a black SUV with Wilson Catering on the side. The driver rolled down his window. We're here for the tourist party, he called out. Cancelled, I said. You can head back. We already prepared everything, the driver protested. That's $12,000 worth of food. Send the invoice to Daniel Torres, I said, pointing. He's the one who booked the party. The driver's face darkened. He pulled out a tablet. We have a cancellation policy. I'm aware, Daniel said through clenched teeth. Just leave. 3 more vendors arrived in the next 10 minutes. The florist. The band. The photographer. Each one was turned away, each one with invoices and cancellation fees. I watched Daniel's face grow more and more panicked with each arrival. How much? Dad finally asked him. How much do you owe? I don't, it's not, Daniel couldn't meet his eyes. $78,000, I said. Give or take. That's venue cancellation, catering cancellation, flowers, entertainment, photography. All with non-refundable deposits or cancellation penalties. Dad stared at his son. You don't have $78,000? I have it, Daniel said defensively. It's just tied up in investments and... You couldn't afford this party, Dad said flatly. You booked something you couldn't pay for. I was going to figure it out. Daniel shouted. I was going to make it work. This was supposed to be special for you. By going into debt? Dad asked. By writing checks you can't cash? Better than doing nothing. Daniel shot back. Better than being like Maya, who didn't even plan anything for your birthday. Actually, I said quietly, I did plan something. Everyone turned to look at me. I bought Dad a gift, I continued. I was going to give it to him tomorrow at lunch. Just the two of us. Nothing elaborate. Nothing expensive. Just something I thought he'd appreciate. What gift? Dad asked. I pulled an envelope from my purse and handed it to him. Open it. Dad opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a single sheet of paper, a property deed. You bought me property? He said, confused. I bought a property, I said. Not just any place, the cabin on Lake Morrison. The one you and Grandpa used to fish at. The one you've talked about for 30 years. It went up for sale 3 months ago. I bought it. It's yours. Dad's hands shook. The Morrison cabin? How did you? I called the owners, I said. Made them an offer they couldn't refuse. I renovated it completely. New roof, plumbing, electricity. It's just like you remember, only better. Dad started crying. My father, who never cried, had tears in his eyes. The key's inside, I said softly. Happy birthday, Dad. He hugged me tight. Thank you, Maya. Everyone was watching. Some teary-eyed. Rebecca stunned. Daniel pale. How much did that cost? Mom asked. $1.2 million, I said. You spent over $1 million on a cabin? Rebecca whispered. I spent it on something that makes Dad happy, I said. Not a flashy party he'd forget. Dad stared at the deed. This was Grandpa's favorite place. I know, I said. I listened. As the guests left, my relatives hugged me and apologized. Daniel stood by his Mercedes, his perfect party ruined. I walked over. You could have just invited me, I said. That's all I wanted, to be included. You don't get it, he said quietly. You've always been different. You make me look bad. I made you look bad? I asked. Or did you do that by trying to impress people who don't care? He said nothing. I'll cover the cancellation fees, I said. All of them. So Dad's birthday isn't remembered for your debt. Daniel blinked. Why would you do that? Because you're my brother, I said. And Dad doesn't need this stress. I don't need your charity, he muttered. It's not charity, I said. It's family. Back with Mom and Dad, Rebecca joined us. I'm sorry, she said. For everything. I know, I said. Mom smiled weakly. Can we start over? Really start over? I'd like that, I said. Dad put his arm around me. Tomorrow. The cabin. Just you and me. I'd love that. As the sun set over the estate, I realized I didn't need their approval anymore. I'd built my life without it. But having them finally see me, that felt good too. Daniel came over again. Maya, thank you. For everything. You're welcome, I said. Next time invite everyone. Even the ones you underestimate. That night, instead of a grand party, we went to a small Italian restaurant. 2 tables pushed together. Pasta, wine, laughter. Real conversation for the first time in years. Dad lifted his glass. To my daughter Maya, he said. Who proved that success isn't about showing off, it's about what you build quietly. We clinked glasses. I smiled. I didn't need revenge or recognition. Just peace. And that was enough.